What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, where Alex hosts all things Mac, all things football, all things sports, right here, Mac Sports Connection, baby. The Mid-American Conference best, bringing it only the greats, Mac, to everyone.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, part of the Varsity Podcast Network, presented by Learfield. I'm your host, Alex the Captain. Thank you so much for joining me this week. The calendar is slowly working its way through July. It feels like it's been a couple years through this month. And as we start to slowly transition into August, we're just weeks away from filling our stadiums with fans, cheers, and probably a few tears as the season wears on. So I figured, why not, as we prepare for Media Day, as we prepare for the season, why not bring on a guest who is very familiar with the pads cracking in the Mid-American Conference? This week, it's my honor to introduce Thomas Woodson, the former Akron quarterback, number 4, or I think number 13 is what you're most known for, from Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Thomas, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time. Thank you for reaching out, and it's a blessing and honor to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, humble roots, you begin in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. You tore up the record books. You know, I went back and I looked through some stuff, and your name is all over those record books. You want to talk about that high school career there at Gateway High School?
Yeah, Gateway Senior High School here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. It was a tough but thankful learning experience as well. Very thankful for the coaching staff that I had around me. They really taught me the game. They taught me a lot. Great people, great mentors. I still keep in touch with until this day. And they taught me just more, and just not just the game of football, just life in general. I'm close with all of them. I still talk to all of them. I just talked to one literally this morning. They called me this morning, seeing what I was doing. And it's more family oriented. I love those guys. They love me, and it's family. I want to say my time here in Monroeville, I was a 3-year starter. I started my sophomore year of high school, and that was one of the toughest times ever, just because just gaining the trust of the coaching staff and my teammates, my peers, and just understanding and knowing the history of Gateway football. And I just didn't want to be the letdown. I didn't want to be my era to be the letdown of Gateway football. So, and I knew the history of the guys that were there. I knew the people that played before me, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be something great. I wanted to be a part of the family. I used to love when the former guys come back from college break, summer break, and they used to come around and tell us their experiences and stories and what we need to be ready for and things like that. I used to love all of that. And so 3-year starter. I had number 4 my sophomore and junior year. Then I switched to 13 my senior year. And just like in college, it was reversed. So I had 13 my first couple of years in college, and I had number 4 my last couple of years. So those are pretty much my favorite numbers, just because me and my family, we go about one thing, one Bible verse, Philippians 4:13, is I can do all things with and through Christ that strengthens me. So those 2 numbers are very significant to me. But those 3-year starter, couldn't win the big one. Something happened every single year. Someone getting hurt, and the key player. And I come from a public high school, so like if one guy get hurt, we're missing them all phases of throughout the game and of all sides of the ball. So everybody played both sides. So it was tough. But 3-year starter here, and yeah, that was my time here at Gateway. I love it. A lot of people here. And hopefully they love me back, but I've been all open arms ever since I came back here. So
Sure. So obviously, you know, again, like I said, tearing up the record books, 3-year starter. I mean, really decorated in your time at high school. You go on to get recruited to college. You get a couple offers. Looking at it, it looks like you initially committed to Arizona, but then decommitted, and you go to Akron. And I'm looking at it, and I got to be honest, I was scratching my head a little on this one because I couldn't find much. I looked on the 24/7 website, and it kind of gives your timeline. And Rich Rodriguez had just finished his first year. They were 8-4 that year. Akron had just finished a 1-11 season. Being close to home, I assume that was the big reason, right? Yeah, I mean, you're 2 hours from Akron versus all the way across the country at Arizona.
So I wish that was the case, but it wasn't the case.
Okay.
So Rich Rodriguez and his staff. So enter my sophomore year season that summer. My high school used to go to the Michigan 7-on-7 passing tournament, and Rich Rodriguez and his staff was at Michigan at this time, and we went up there heading into my sophomore season. We won the 7-on-7. We won the whole tournament. They offered me a scholarship. I mean, back then it was verbal, but they verbally gave me a scholarship back then. So in 10th grade, heading into my first year, my first season, I haven't played it down at varsity football yet. I was going there. I was going to Michigan. It was my first big school, big anything, honestly. And just me loving the game of football, knowing the history of football. And when I got on Michigan campus, just seeing the history there, I was big-eyed. I was astonished. I loved it. Just the history of football, seeing everything up there, a big campus, a big name, big time school. It was amazing. It was great just being up there. And then I want to say probably later that year, that staff, he got fired probably that year or the year after. I'm not sure. They got fired. So they went to the University of Arizona, and they still kept in contact. Once they got there, they offered me a scholarship there at the University of Arizona. So to me, it was kind of like a no-brainer. These are the guys that I kind of kept in touch with, that were keeping in touch with me out of anybody, honestly. So I had University of Arizona, they offered me, and then the next day, Bowling Green offered me as well with Warren Regario. He's now the OC at Wake Forest now.
Yep.
And so it was those two schools, and Bowling Green wanted me to commit as soon as possible, and I really wanted to test out my everything that I had, so to see what I can get and what other schools can offer me. I wanted to go to Toledo High School just because all my friends, they were all going there, and it was kind of like a pipeline from what was going on from Pittsburgh to Toledo. All my friends were going there, and I wanted to go there, be with my friends. We all played on the same 7-on-7 tournament. I grew up with these guys from 5 years old, 4 years old, and a good 7, 8 people were heading to Toledo. So I wanted to go there. They never offered me a scholarship. So Bowling Green, they kind of wanted me to commit as soon as possible. And University of Arizona, they were the school. So I committed there. I was committed to Arizona my whole senior year. And then I randomly, I don't know what happened. My head coach called me down to his office. He was our athletic director at the time as well, Terry Smith. He's associate head coach now at Penn State. He called me to his office, and he was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know, but Arizona's pulling your scholarship. And they never told me why. They never gave me a reason. They never answered my phone calls. They just kind of left me on dry. And this is a month before signing day. So at this time, I really didn't know if I was going to be able to play college football. I didn't know anything. It was probably one of the worst times of my life as a kid, honestly. It was tough. Sure. And after all that happened, this happened a month before signing day. Akron came, and it was either go to Akron or Slippery Rock University. And my dreams and goals throughout my life was to play Division I football. So I kind of those only two schools I had. So I committed to play at the University of Akron.
So you get to Akron, and legendary, really, Coach Terry Bowden is kind of heading that team. So you and I have a mutual connection, Jared Pugsley, who was on the team with you for, I think there was a year overlap. Is that correct?
A year or 2 years at the most, but
okay.
I know it was a good year. But yeah, Pugs, Akron legend. One of the guys I actually wanted to really impress. You want to impress your upperclassmen once you get there and really keep your trust and really know that you really care about the game and the program. So he was one of the guys, one of the leaders, one of the voices of the team when I got there. And he always came around. Good dude. Pugs is a good dude, especially Akron Zip legend. I would say that for sure.
For sure. Next time I see him, I'll tell him you said what's up.
Sounds good.
So you get there. I've heard stories about Terry Bowden and his coaching style from Jared. What are some of the stories you have? I hear he's a little bit, we're going to play fun football. Does
Yeah.
that feel pretty accurate?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say so. Kind of try to bring somewhat of fun into the game as well, since University of Akron wasn't really getting used to winning around that time. So, especially when the new coaching staff comes in, I wasn't there his first year. I want to say I came his second year. Second year, I want to say I was, but I want to say we were the first recruiting class or second. I want to say the first, but
Okay.
but it's just tough, just getting other guys and guys that you need to recruit and going to another school and really just trust and believe what you're teaching and what you're coaching. So I would say so, but I would say it was probably like tough at that time, just getting the guys to really understand and get a feel from being a new coach and really trusting your voice.
Sure. And yeah, and that was something kind of Jared had kind of mentioned as well, is a lot of, like, he had gone through 3 different coaching staffs in his 5 years at Akron. So just, I'm just imagining there's that constant, well, do we only get this guy for a year or two? Who's coming in next? There's just a lot of that uneasiness.
Yeah.
But you redshirted your freshman year, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
You guys played Michigan. Speaking of wanting to go to Michigan, you guys played Michigan at the Big House. I know I'm bringing up an awful memory right now. Did you travel with the team for that, or do red shirts not travel? How does that work?
Yeah, so I went. They kind of, so when we play like bigger schools, obviously when you play a bigger school, they kind of pay you to play them, and they pretty much try to bring as much guys as they can. So I was actually there.
Okay.
Crazy game. We should have won that game. It was tough seeing those guys' faces and my teammates' faces after the game. It was just so heartbreaking. But yeah, the Big House. I've been in the Big House when it was quiet. So it was crazy just being around that time. But just so unfortunate.
Not something too many people can say they've been in the Big House when it's been quiet, but filled with 100,000 people. That's a rarity.
Yeah.
That's so I mean, that's super cool. So you talked about obviously playing those 7-on-7 tournaments in Michigan, up in Ann Arbor. Now you go to Michigan, you guys almost pull off this phenomenal upset. But I've looked at it, and I looked at your career and your time at Akron.
Yeah.
You got to be a part of some really cool trips, trips to Pittsburgh, Penn State, this Michigan trip, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Iowa State. I mean, do any of those stick out to you as the most memorable? Maybe the Michigan one, I'd imagine, but any of them really kind of jump off the pages like, this is the game I will remember for the rest of my life?
Honestly, I remember all those games, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I remember all those games, but the one that probably sticks out the most that really, I mean, Michigan, it was crazy, of course, and we felt like we should have won that game. 4 tries on the 1-yard line, and we couldn't get it in. Yeah, that was tough. I'm trying to think, but going back home, being here at Pittsburgh, going to Heinz Field and beating the Pitt team, where a lot of my friends were on that team at the time that I still talk to this day. Childhood friends were going to Pitt at that time, and I went to Akron, and just seeing them and beating them, and for them to be compared as the bigger school at the time and being in the ACC, that was beautiful. I loved it. That was great for me. That was everything. And I played that game as well. I played like 4 or 5 series that game. So like I kind of did something. I felt like, I mean, we won the game. So like I could say that I actually played in the game. So, and just being back home and winning that game was beautiful. I loved it. And just seeing my friends' faces, how they were before the game and after the game, it was great. So I would say coming back home and playing at Heinz Field and being home at Pittsburgh was beautiful. It was great winning on that field.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge win for Akron, one of the big wins in program history. And to kind of be a part of that, I mean, that's something that you're always going to have. I've kind of looked at a lot of things. It looked like every year you guys like improved. You guys moved towards, getting closer to a MAC championship, moving towards a positive MAC record. You had some cool guys in your QB room, guys that I remember watching play. Kyle Pohl.
Yeah.
Talk about sharing a QB room with him and, maybe some of the other guys you got to kind of learn from and with.
Yeah. So KP, Cowpo, we call him KP. And I want to say when I first got there, KP and Nick Hirschman, two upperclassmen guys that really kind of like took me under the wing and really wanted to help me. Like a lot of guys, you get to certain schools, whatever level you're at, and you're a younger guy coming in, you kind of there's some guys that are like not trying to help the younger guys, and just because you play the same position and they don't want to get their spot taken but those guys took me under the wing when I first got there over the summer, taking me in the film room, watching their plays. They taught me the playbook. I want to say Kyle Pohl really taught me the playbook. And Nick Hirschman, just been coming from Colorado, coming here to University of Akron, he taught me a lot as well. And he he was on me. So these are guys with just coaches, other coaches that I had. And just it's better to hear from your peers all the time rather than the coach. So just having guys that are older than me and really played live snaps during the game and really being able to talk to me. But it's better to hear from them a lot of the times rather than your coaches. So they were great. Kyle Pohl, Nick Hirschman really took me under the wings once I got there.
Okay. You very much, you had some great guys obviously on that team, guys who'd been through a lot of adversary, kind of rebuilding and getting through the rough portion of Akron football. And then all of a sudden it's 2015, you guys go 8-5. You started the year 3-5, ripped off 5 straight wins, including the win at the Potato Bowl.
Yeah.
Talk about how cool that was. I went back and I watched some highlights, whatever. Is that you with the receiving touchdown in that game?
Yeah. So just that year for me was very, very up and down. Because after the game, after we won the Idaho Potato Bowl game, I literally cried. Everything just came out of me. It was just it was surreal moment, and just what I've been through in my life. Like everything was just flashing throughout my head at that time, at that moment, and that season, that year. But that was me with the receiving touchdown. Still get kind of people come and talk to me to this day about that day. And another thing that was just big that I just was just crazy just to think about, just playing on that blue turf. If you watch football throughout your life on Boise State Stadium, playing so NCAA the game, even though it just came out now, but when I was a kid, it was out, and just playing that game and seeing the blue turf, especially when I was a kid, that was when Boise State was at their best with, when they beat Oklahoma in the Tostitos game, when Ian Johnson proposes to his girlfriend after. Like I'm a fan of football, so like I really like watched Boise State when they were really good. Kellen Moore days when he was playing, Titus Young at receiver. Like I really watched those guys like on TV, and playing on that field was just crazy to me. But that year was up and down because people don't know like what I've been through that year. So, and that year was just it was a lot, and just starting that from that year, I was 5th string in the spring, and then I ended up starting by week 4. So week 3. So a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know. In fall camp, there were some days where I didn't practice at all because at the quarterback position, you can't give everybody reps. So, and me being 4th string, 5th string, there were some days I wasn't practicing at all. So It was a lot. It was a lot that year. So, and a lot of people don't know that. So, and I really haven't really talked about it or spilled on or really my experience or really what happened that year. But people don't know that I started from 5th string and kept going and kept striving and I always believed in myself, but just staying ready, and by week 3 or 4, I got my chance and I just never wanted to give it back.
It's one of those things you grab onto it and you're like, not letting go. Somebody's got to beat me for it.
Yeah, it was tough. I felt like I should have been farther ahead where I was earlier, but a lot of times, a lot of things don't work like that. So I just kept my head down and really just kept trying to work. And I just told myself once I got my chance, my time, I wasn't giving it back. So, but a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know I started out being 5th string and now I'm the starter. So they just think you had a great career at Akron. Like, how was college? You had a great, but there were ups and downs in my career that was really tough and really hard on me. And especially just a kid just trying to learn and understand life. So But everything's a learning experience, so I'm very grateful for it.
Sure. Kind of looking at your final season, 2017.
Yeah,
You mentioned wanting to play for Toledo. You guys played Toledo twice that year, once
yeah,
in the MAC championship. Obviously, the result was not what Akron wanted. Being a
yeah,
Toledo alumni, I'm sorry, it was exactly what I wanted. But the result not being what you guys wanted. But you're the first team since the 2005 team to even get to Detroit. How
yeah.
special was that for you guys? I mean, sure, it was a loss, but you guys did something the previous 12 teams hadn't done.
Yeah, like it's good and great to think about it like that. Like my whole just seeing how University of Akron was looked at upon from opponents, even at the school at the university. So we're looked at as the worst sport here on campus from the year my senior year of high school. Akron was 1-11, and then we have all these losing seasons. And then my last year, we end up in having a chance winning the conference. That's great. That's great to look at it. That was a great time. And just looking at it like that from that point of view is beautiful. But then again, the football in me, the winner in me, I wanted to be holding up that MAC trophy at the end, but that's just not how it worked out. But it's just tough. Just you see your school start out from 1-11 and your stint there, and by the time you leave, you end up competing for a MAC championship. But that's beautiful to say as well, and just try to leave keeping my school on the right track and trying to be successful. So like I can say that's beautiful to look at it from that standpoint. But the winner in me and just the guy that's not used to losing, I've never been a loser in my life. I wanted to win so bad, so that was tough as well. But
That's
I have
I mean, yeah, I
friends.
mean, oh, I was gonna say those moments are always the toughest for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, once I had childhood friends on that Toledo team, won a MAC championship, and it was good to see them win as well. So never, but I always wanted to win though. So there's never a game that I wanted to play that it doesn't matter what opponent I was playing that I felt okay losing. So
Sure.
whatever I wanted to do, I just felt like we should have won. So it's just I don't know, it's just who I am.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So obviously, part of the only bowl win in program history,
Yeah,
part of the first MAC championship appearance since 2005 in program history, the only one since 2005. You learn from some great guys like Kyle Pohl.
yeah,
Looking at your career numbers, and I saw something today, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but looking at your career numbers, so you rank second all time in passing yards at Akron. I'm sure you're aware of that. You have almost 7,000 passing yards and 53 touchdowns. Uh, but you also moved pretty good. You had 740 career rushing yards, 5 scores. You're the winningest quarterback in Akron history, and you're mentioned in the same breath as Luke Getsy and Charlie Fry. How cool is that to be up there with those legends?
it's beautiful. Like once I got there, when I got to the school, like I feel like you should know more about your school, who played here, and understand and know the school's history. That's just who I am. So if wherever school you go to, you got to know who played here. You got to know who walked the same, who walked the same. I don't want to say halls because it's not high school, but the same way to the football facility in the morning to you, like the same buildings on campus, the same weight room that you're lifting in right now currently. So like I was very huge and big on that, and I always wanted those guys to come back to really like come and see us play when I was there. I always wanted that. I always wanted that feeling. I love when like former players come back and they talk to the team, and like I'm big on that, and just kind of like having a family home type of environment. But to be in those guys, the same breath of those guys, they're doing great things. Luke Getsky, OC in the NFL right now, and I want to say Charlie Fry is the head coach at FAU right now. So
That sounds right. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, just be, and then I in this profession and this coaching role, I aspire to get to where they're at right now. So it's beautiful, it's a great thing. It's an honor, and just to be up there with those Akron legends, and I'm thankful for it. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm huge on wherever you play at, whatever you're doing, is kind of leaving your mark and making sure people know who you are and remember your name and leaving your legacy at that place. So like I'm very huge on that as well. But being with those guys is a beautiful thing, and it's a blessing, and I don't know what to say. It's a beautiful thing. I
Sure.
love to see that. These are my dreams as a kid. Just going somewhere and actually just leaving your mark and leaving your legacy. So it's beautiful, man.
So going back to the yards for you, this was something I noticed this literally about an hour before we got on this call. You have more career passing yards than third place Heisman Trophy finalist Jordan Lynch did back when he was at Northern Illinois. Don't know if you're aware of that.
Okay, so I mean that's a great thing, but Jordan Lynch, I watched him as a kid as well. I want to say I watched my freshman year. We played them actually the year they played Florida State.
Yep.
In that bowl game year. So we actually played them. We almost beat them. We lost 24-21. But seeing him, I watched him all throughout his college career. NIU legend, MAC legend. I want to say he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, the MAC Sports Hall of Fame.
Yep,
I want
the
to
MAC
say
Hall of Fame.
MAC Hall of Fame. So like I'm a huge fan. Like I hope I meet him one day. Like he probably doesn't even know that I've been watching him. So man, he was great. And I understand, but he was a dual threat. He could run.
Yeah.
He could break a run for 60, 70 yards, touchdown. And he could do both. But it's a great thing. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna put myself down, but it's a beautiful thing. But that was a guy that really he beat you both ways. He beat you with his legs and his arms. So like that's Jordan Lynch is a true legend. If you know football, you better know Jordan Lynch is. You need to know who that is.
It's so funny. There were so many times. So I watched him play at the Glass Bowl twice when I was a student at Toledo, and I think once when he was actually starting. And many a times he would score a touchdown and just come over to the student section and just egg us on. It was pretty special to kind of witness that history.
Yeah, and at the time you're just living in the moment, not really understanding who this is, and then like when you think about it, it's like I really watched Jordan Lynch play. Like that was crazy. Like I really watched one of the best to ever play. Like I felt like that with him, and seeing Dree Archer play in college was crazy too as well. When I seen Dree Archer was man, he's ridiculous, and that was our rival. So like watching him, like I was big. I was so big eyed on the sideline. Like this is really Dree Archer. Like that's really Jordan Lynch out there. But yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Speaking of rivals, let's talk about that wagon wheel. Any particular wagon wheel stick out to you? Anything special you guys did after winning that? You guys had a couple wins in that series while you were there.
Yeah, I would say so. Actually playing, I never lost to them. So, but like being on the team, like I was there when we lost. So like it doesn't matter. One team could be doing good. Like my redshirt freshman year, I want to say, we lost to Kent, and we needed one more game to be bowl eligible. And we were winning 24-21, and they drove down the field. I want to say they drove like 80 yards, 90 yards within under a minute, and we lost to them. That was so heartbreaking. And then I just felt so bad for the seniors and the guys that were leaving. But it doesn't matter what, like a rivalry game, it doesn't matter what the record is. Everybody plays harder that game for some reason. It's just more at stake. It's just I get it, but I don't get it because it's like this team is playing a different way that they haven't played all year. But it's just I don't know. It's more meaningful. It's more at stake. Like bragging rights at the line. Like a lot of these guys that went to Kent State, like Kent State and Akron is only 15 minutes from with each other, so we see each other a lot. We go to the same malls. We go to the same places to eat. So like we're going to see these guys. So but a rivalry game is just something different. So it doesn't really matter what team is doing what this year. It's so much at stake. Like in that year we were on our way. We had one more game to be bowl eligible, and I just remember this. They drove down on us. I felt like we kind of scored too fast. We had the ball. We're losing about 3, I want to say, and our running back Jawan Chisholm, I still talk to him to this day. One of my good friends, he breaks like a 7-yard run, and there's like a minute and like 20 left or something like that, around a minute somewhere in there, and it was just too much time, and they end up winning, man. But my time, me playing when I was there, we always beat them, Kent State. So I can't really, I don't know. Always got respect for my opponent, but once on the field, it's whoever I'm playing. It kind of got to make it personal. But I never really lost to them like me playing, but
Okay.
yeah, but my first year starting that year, we went to 8-5. We got a bowl. We went to Idaho Potato Bowl game. So that game before the Idaho Potato Bowl game, we played Kent. That game was a lot. There was a lot of people there. It was loud. It was that game was pretty fun too as well. And then I want to say in the third quarter we had a 22 play drive or something like that. It was something
Oh,
crazy
wow.
that game. Yeah, it was a lot going on. So we took over like the whole third quarter of that game. But yeah, I would say that probably my first year starting. But other than that, we didn't really have problems with Kansas State.
I heard the can't state in there. That's
Kansas State.
classic moniker for them with Akron folks. So I did want to ask back to the bowl games. You guys, I think we're in 2 bowl games while you were at Akron,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What are the bowl gifts? I know like I've had former actually funny enough, former Michigan player Chris Wormley on the show. And
Chris Wormley.
he talked about like some of the bowl gifts they got for going to like the Gator Bowl, things like that. Did you guys have any cool bowl gifts?
Yeah, I mean, but like those guys, since they're been like a Power 5 school, well, Power 4 now, those guys kind of they get more like because they're bigger bowl games. So like you kind of get a stipend where you get paid throughout the week, and I'm pretty sure they got more money than we did once we got there. I want to say when we went to Boise, Idaho, we all got like $200 each for like the week or something like that. It wasn't that much, but all the bowl game gifts that I got, so you kind of could pick. Like there was like a point system, I want to say, but everything I used to do, so it used to be around Christmas time, right before Christmas, I used to get Christmas gifts for my family. So I never really got anything for myself. So I used to just have them sent to my family, and that was pretty much it. And I never really got anything particular for myself on like any of the bowl game wins or anytime we went to the bowl game. So I never really got anything myself. I just sent gifts home to my family for Christmas. So
Okay. No,
yeah.
I mean nothing wrong with that. That's a cool way to do some Christmas shopping. Hey guys, I went to a bowl game. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, just and just I don't know. I just felt like it was just something to do, something good to do. And since my family can't be out here with me, I'm gonna send something back home. And they're with me in spirit somehow. But I used to always do that. It was around Christmas time. I used to get gifts for my family and send it back home.
That's cool. That's super cool. So I think I saw last year, maybe the year before, you wrapped up your master's degree at West Liberty. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that was tough, but always, I don't know. I felt like it was just something I had to do, but like I don't know. I'm just big on, so like I'm the first person to get my master's on my dad's side of the family out of everybody, and on my mom's side of the family, I'm the first male to get their master's. I do have an older cousin who has her doctorate, but I'm just huge on. I'm a big person on like kind of like making this the norm. I don't know, like the next generation of my family, my younger cousins, that were growing up in this world. I want them to look at me and be like, my cousin did this, so like, why can't I do it? Because I never really had like throughout my recruiting process, college, just in what I'm doing right now, I never really had someone I could call and kind of like give me the laydown or give me kind of like somewhat a blueprint of how they did things or how to do things. So like I'm kind of doing it myself. So I kind of want to be that person to show them like you're able to do this. So I just felt like it was something I needed to do. I just felt like and just seeing my family's faces when I got it, they were more excited than me. Like so, like that's a beautiful thing, seeing my family's faces on when I got that. Especially my parents, my family, well, all my family, honestly, they're ecstatic. So that was a good thing to see. But I'm just very big on trying to do something my family hasn't seen or haven't done. So and going to school, and I always wanted to go to college, but getting my master's was never like a goal of mine. So like I kept going and being an adult, and I just want to show like my younger generation of family that if I could do it, you could do it as well. So just keep going, and you never know where this could lead to you in life, and just keep going, you know. So like right now, I'm still going, just just everybody's still figuring out this thing called life still. So that's what I'm just being big on that.
Sure. The state of college football now is vastly different than what it was when you were playing. Things like NIL, the transfer portal. Talk about NIL. Was there any sort of product or company you would have wanted an NIL deal with?
Honestly, anything, anybody. I wish the NIL deal was out when I was in college because a lot of guys don't get to see the NFL or the pro level. So like NIL, like for a lot of people come from like unfortunate situations and you don't know what they're going through back at home. So like having NIL deals, like a lot of people don't know like how much is helping like not just the people that are having these deals, but their families. So like honestly, like I wish this was out when I would probably be like like my family would be, everybody would be better, but just seeing things and doing things that like I never really imagined or anything like that. Like my first time on a plane, my first time seeing the beach was because of football. So, but yeah, my first time on a plane was just because of the game of football, and I'm big on that. Use the game how it uses you. So like, see the world through this one little pigskin. I went to school for free just because of football. So, but NIL deals, pretty much anybody. I don't really have something that probably would make sense, probably like any tire companies in Akron or like Will, just because Akron nickname is Rubber City. So just something like that'll make sense. Like but not anything in particular. They're in Welch's fruit snacks. I used to eat Welch's fruit snacks like during the game. A lot of people know that. Yeah. I'm a huge Welch's fruit snacks. I used to eat Welch's fruit snacks during the game, in the game. If you could see me, like if there was a camera in my face, like so, if there was a cold game, I used to keep Welch's fruit snacks in my hand pouch. And just Welch's fruit snacks, honestly, but that and just having something to do with tires, just because Rubber City and Akron go hand to hand with each other. And Swenson's, something to do with Swenson's, I guess, just because
Swenson's is good. Oh
yeah. I haven't got Swenson's unless I was in Akron, and one of my best friends I still talk to this day, he introduced me to Swenson's. It's kind of like I guess a Northeast Ohio thing. So something like that would have made sense. But I'd have been open for anything that I could accommodate money and I could help my family circumstances. I would have done it. So yeah,
cool. Welch's fruit snacks. I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm gonna probably go buy some now because of your endorsement. So I'll see if they'll kick you some of that cash for that.
Yeah, I hope so. But I was very big on that. I used to have Welch's fruit snacks and I used to have Glacier Freeze Gatorade. I used to have that before the game. But I used to have Welch's fruit snacks all the time. So
okay. So obviously Akron has had a few down years the last couple years. Coach Joe Moorhead comes in, he's taken over, and it looks like to me things are slowly starting to go the right way. I mean, Akron's been losing games by 7, by 3. Yeah. So I mean, it's starting to turn around. What are your thoughts, and kind of give me a quick prediction on the season?
If we get to closer to 500, I would be fine with that, just because like that's just kind of like this is what goes on when you're kind of like trying to turn around a program and get things stirring and getting it going into the right direction. So around 500, I'm fine with it. Just a realistic type of ideal thing. But I want Akron to do well. I want Akron to be better than when I was there. Because I want my former schools, high school, any school that I played at, I want them to still be doing good. Like once I leave and go on and do other things. But any around there, like I'll be fine. Like I would say, like just like you said, like there was a lot of games last year where we're losing by 3-7, like just small games like here and there, and that's one possession, that's one play, that's one snap away of really turning it over and winning. Like so, like last year I seen a couple games. We played Temple. We should have beat Temple. We lost by a field goal. We should have beat Indiana last year. We played Indiana. We lost them in overtime, and then we shouldn't have got into overtime. We missed a field goal to win the game at the end. So then it goes in overtime. So like small things like that plays a key factor into the game. So, but we're heading into the right direction, So like at least they're not blowouts or anything like that. Like these are games that we're in. competitive, and guys are out there competing. So I would say around 500, I would be fine. But if we get to a bowl game this year, I'll be more happy just because I just want my team to do well. So hopefully that.
You're going to travel to that bowl game if they make it, right?
Man, if hopefully so. If I hopefully I don't know. Hopefully if things, you never know how things play. So depending on where I'm at and where I'm going. So but if I can, I would, and I'll be there screaming loud and proud. If I can, I try to go back when I was to a game a year if I can, depending on like what school I'm at and if we have a bad week or depending on what day we play on. I used to try to always get back to go to a game, but hopefully so. You never know.
As long as that location's nice and warm, right? That's the
That's the more ideal thing. But hey, any bowl game is a good one. It brings notoriety to the school, to the players, everything. So it'll be beautiful, man. I need to see us playing in the postseason. I need to see us playing in December. That would be great for me. And beating Kent, we beat them last year
sure.
at the end. We came back and we won that game, and we need to keep it going. We play at Kent this year. I want to say because last year we played them at home, so we need to do that again as well. So
I've been to the last 3 Akron Kent State games. I was in the press box when Jeff Undercuffler won that for Akron last year.
yeah.
And when I say I saw the athletic director, Charles Guthrie, absolutely explode with joy.
Yeah.
Like he was beside himself. I mean, that was a really cool moment because, I mean, this league. This league has so many incredible rivalry games. You got Battle of I-75. You've got Battle of the Bricks. You've got the Michigan Mac. You've got the Wagon Wheel. So to see that for Akron kind of break that streak, for me, that was a really cool experience to witness that.
Man, beautiful. Because this is one of the goals that you have to have. You got to beat your team. You got to beat your rival. And you got to have a winning season. And even if you don't have a winning season, you beat your rival that year, that adds some type of excitement to that program, the university in general. Because I know there's people that are from that area that go hand to hand, that goes to Kent State and Akron, that are like regular students that are friends that go to the other schools. So like those are one of the goals that you got to have like throughout the year. But yeah, there's great rivalry games in the MAC. Like last year, Bowling Green was playing Toledo, and Bowling Green was winning the whole entire game. Entire game, and Toledo came back and won. I actually watched that game. That was crazy. But yeah, MAC is filled with great players, so underrated, and we have one of the best. We produce great talent here in the MAC football conference. So it's a good thing to see, man. I love it.
Yeah, the that Bowling Green Toledo game, I was at that one as well, and that was a thriller. I've been at the last 2 of those, and it's come down to that like final 2 minutes, and it's been absolutely insane. So as we kind of wrap this up, one, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, I've really appreciated getting to talk to you and learning a little bit more about you and your time at Akron. I asked this question to every single one of my guests who's affiliated with the league, whether it be coach, former player, whatever. What has being an Akron Zip and, then of course playing in the Mid-American Conference, what have those things meant to you?
Honestly, from once I first got there towards the end, tremendous change. It was how I felt and what was going through my mind and everything there. So like wherever you go, wherever school you pick to, you want to love the school, you want to take pride in, you want to talk highly of your school, you want to be respected. And once I got there from the beginning to the end, I felt like I done that. That was a part of my goals. That was really because when I first got to Akron, I wore no football attire on campus. When I went to class, I had no football gear on. I didn't even want people to know that I played football, honestly, because it was just like from high school going to college. I come from a winning school in high school, coming to Akron, who were came off a 1-11 season, and hearing what people talk about, how they talk about the school was crazy to me, and I never been a part of that, so that kind of like put me down like a little bit, but. I'm a proud Zip. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a proud Akron Zip. Definitely proud. And when people ask me, it was like how I felt about Akron and what was going on, and it's all part of life. It's a learning experience. But me, I'm a proud Akron Zip. thankful, very fortunate to get to go to school for free at Akron, University of Akron. And I'm a proud Akron Zip, man. So I could say that. And actually, my playing stayed at Akron. We weren't the joke of the conference or the league, and we were respected. And I made sure of that once my playing stint at the University of Akron.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas, do you have anything else you want to give to the audience? Any tidbits, advice, anything you want? This is your floor right here.
I don't know. Like, don't be discouraged. Always, like, when I was in college, when I got there, when I was fifth string, or some days I wasn't practicing. I always just try to look at the what could be better, or I mean, the worst. I always think what could be worse than the position I'm in. Like, it's not as bad as what someone else is going through. There's homeless people out here. There's people that always wanted to play at the next level. There's people that just walk-ons at my school paying tuition to be in my position. So, like, I used to always try to keep that in my mind, keep that in my head once I was there. So there's always somebody out there do things and being in worse situation that you're currently going through. And if that's the worst situation you ever been through, whatever you're going through, there's going to be better times. So I would say that. And another thing with, like, football players in general, or just anybody dealing with the game of football, use the game to see the world, man. That's what I've been doing my whole life. I've been to places. I've been to Boise State Stadium. The first time I seen a beach was because of the game of football. And football's a fraternity. Get out there, talk, introduce yourselves. Get out there, man. The game of football is a beautiful thing. So, and you never know who you might meet. But, and yeah, that's what I would say. Use the game to see the world, man. And another thing I go by right now, if you're dealing with the game of football, because you're kind of being the mentor, your mentee, trying to be the guy that's your mentor and young men in this world. Just be the person that you needed when you were their age. So be the person that you needed when you were younger. So I'm very big on that as well. So
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say thank you for having me. If you got any other guys in hand, I got a lot of like close friends that went to University of Toledo that if you want to get in touch with them, I could call them. I'm trying to think who else.
Cool.
You know Trayvon Hester?
I do. Yeah.
D tackle.
I do.
Drafted to the Raiders. That's me. People don't even know that we grew up together. I know him since I know him since I was a baby. Like,
okay.
Him, Damian Jones-Moore, he played running back. We're all Pittsburgh area. Terry Swanson was a running back at Toledo. I'm close with him as well.
Wow. Okay.
So I knew these guys for 20, 30 years. Well, not 30. I'm not 30 yet, but 20 years plus now. So a lot of guys. So there's a lot of Toledo alumni guys that I know, and a lot of guys in the MAC in general that I know. So if you want to like get in touch with them, I could definitely like reach out to them if you want me to. But
yeah, absolutely.
They would love to be on here. You know, it's just like, I wouldn't say necessarily, but giving back and talking, like it's I don't know, it's a beautiful thing. Like it's like, this is great what you're doing, man. Like, this is great. So like, if I could help, I would definitely help, man, because I'm appreciative of actually being on here and you actually reaching out to me and asking me to be on this is even great itself. I want to say, like, it's a beautiful thing. So keep in contact, and they would love to be on something like this if you would like to have them. Just let me know. I can help if I could. So if there's anything that you would like me to reach out to these guys, I would love to do that if you needed me to.
Certainly. No, I really appreciate it. And again, appreciate you taking your time tonight to be on the show. And I mean, I had a great conversation, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening. Again, Thomas Woodson, former Akron quarterback, winningest quarterback in Akron history. Just so much history, so many cool things going on. And guys, I think that's going to do it for me this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back to our MAC football preview-ish episodes starting next week. So make sure you guys are checking those out. We'll be probably starting the MAC, what I'm calling them, the MAC East pod with Akron, Kent State, Buffalo. So you guys stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.
Go Zips.